Converted meme man here. So I'm going to talk about God being the ultimate meme. But to do so, first I have to talk about memes in general, what they are, in case you don't know what they are, and then pontificate about how God is the ultimate in memes. Now, when I say or hear the word meme, my brain thinks of the first meme that I was introduced to, which I will now display on the screen here. Nope, that's not it. And I screwed up already. Okay, well, that's okay. This is what they started based on, is the believe and succeed. This is one example of where the meme came from that I got first introduced to. So you have a picture of somebody doing something. Here we have climbing a cliff. Then you have the word under it. Could be any word. I've seen achieve, whatever. And then some other quote or what have you. And this is called a motivational poster. And you would see them in the offices. And they're pretty cheap. This one's $12, almost $13. There's other ones that are a little bit more expensive. I think this one that I'm showing right now is a little bit more expensive. But at any rate, they're very cheap posters to put up in the office space. They're non-offensive, and they seem like they're giving a positive message. It's like, you can work hard, you can succeed, you can overcome, whatever. And these things started popping up all over the place. And they were a good meme to change. So this is the way I saw it. This is actually a template of the way I saw it. So this is the meme. You have a frame inside of blackness. The blackness helps you form the frame, and then whatever's in the frame is the focus, and then under that you have the word and the other words. And in this case, this particular one is telling you the template to use for the meme and what type of font to use in that template. So here it says Times New Roman because Franklin Gothic medium doesn't look epic enough. Template. Some people are lazy. This is for those who are even lazier. So it tells you what it's doing. So this particular meme is not only the meme itself, but it actually tells you how to transform this into something else. So here's another example of this particular meme. So this one, let's see if I can get it a little bit bigger here. Yeah, okay, here we go. That's what I wanted. All right, hold on there. Okay, here we go. That's better. So it's still too small. Let's see if I can zoom in at all. Maybe not. But here we have a helicopter, and there's a girl sitting on the gun of the helicopter, and yeah, it's still too small. There's no way I can make it any bigger for other people. Hold on. Maybe I'm making the wrong one bigger. There we go. There we go. Now we can see it. Let's see if we can really zoom in. So it says, why is there a penguin on the helipad? And so, there's a penguin there. I didn't, that wasn't really, to be honest, that wasn't the first thing that I noticed. I noticed the women and sitting on the long pole phallic object of women. Nom, 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 nom. But why is there a penguin on the helipad? So then this is actually a meme within a meme, because that could be the whole meme. But then this is actually more information about the meme. Why did you even notice the penguin? So it's like a conversation. The meme is transforming. It's evolving throughout time. And then there's an explanation to that, to the question. because not everyone on Earth is a straight male. Now, that's one possible explanation. You could have had others. And then you have the final statement, which is demotivational posters becoming the bathroom stall doors of the internet, which is funny that the internet is an entity into itself. It's like you're putting the poster on the internet. What does that mean? It's not. I mean, you can only put posters on walls. You can't, but you can put them on the internet. And we understand what that means, even though there are two different sort of things. And by the way, I won't be looking at chat until I'm done with all this. So stand by if you want to ask questions or have comments or whatever. This is one of my more favorite memes, divide by zero, the same formatting. And then it says, oh, shit. Now, what is it saying? Oh, well, because we know that that's shit. We know that the person's saying shit. Well, they wanted to, but they didn't have time because they did this thing and then something bad happened. So they tried to divide by zero, and that caused this giant blackness to happen, and now they're dead. They can't finish the sentence, and that's what happened. Now, of course, dividing by zero doesn't actually break reality, but that itself is a meme. The idea that dividing by zero, because it's not a thing you can actually do in mathematics, that if you could do it or trying to do it results in a break of reality. So that is a meme inside of a meme now. And many times memes will do that. They'll have memes within memes. So here's another example of that. So you have time paradox. I think this was probably the first meme I saw. And I divided by zero. Oh, shit. And again, something bad happened when they tried. In this case, it was a time paradox. But this one's even more interesting because it's actually an animated meme. So it's just an infinite. You've made this infinite time paradox, and you can't undo it because you've tried to divide by zero, and you've broken reality. So now everyone's dead, and it's your fault. So, like all good things, the word meme was invented by a scientist. And in this case, it was good old Richard Dawkins. No. Yep. There we go. Okay. So here's one thing about it. There's a lot of things written about it. But at any rate, he coined the word meme in his 1976 bestseller, The Selfish Gene. So the word is ascribed to an idea, behavior, or style that spreads from person to person within a culture, and then has been reappropriated by the internet with grumpy cat, socially awkward penguin, overly attached girlfriend, etc. So those are some examples of memes that this person gave, that this place gave. So here's a grumpy cat meme. Smile. I am smiling. I had fun once, but it was awful. So here's a picture of a cat, and you can put words above and below the cat that express things about being grumpy, but in a sarcastic way. Like, yeah, like I had fun once. It was awful. Like I enjoy being grumpy. So that's one example they gave. Here's the socially awkward penguin. It's a penguin on this background. It's easily can be copied. So the penguin is just there. It could have been any image, but that's the one that survived. And then it says something on the top and then says something at the bottom. So hot girl is washing a window from inside, and he waved back at her. Okay, weird. Now I've seen this usually inverted, where the penguin it has its head one way and his feet the other. So and then let's see, the overly attached girlfriend. So this person is actually a YouTuber that posted this picture somewhere, and then because of this meme, she made a YouTube channel called Overly Attached Girlfriend. Like it made her popular enough that she could then make a YouTube video or channel based on the meme, and then the idea of being an overly attached girlfriend. So the text here reflects the idea that the meme is conveying, that this image by itself is just a girl that has a smile and bright eyes, but you can interpret it to mean, oh, this person is odd. You know, I mean, like, look, it's an odd expression that they're having, and so this reminds me of my of having an overly attached girlfriend, and so that's what this is going to become. And then it became adopted, and so that's what it became. And once it became that, it stuck. So that's essentially, if you will, a quick boilerplate, if that's even the right word, of memes. So it's an image or a word or a group of words. It's an idea that is easily transmitted from one person to the other. Now, of course, with the internet, you can see it mutate faster. But memes are not just the internet stuff, because that was later. The meme, the word was appropriated by the internet, if you were, but the word meme itself originally was talking about just ideas that we transmit back and forth, and that these propagate through cultures. I wouldn't say a single culture, they can jump cultures too. So it has to be something simple that you can copy, and then it has to be able to evolve in some way. And it has to be something that's easily remembered and then easily shared. And it has to usually invoke some sort of emotion, even if it's for a very brief moment. So the motivational poster was this idea that some corporation had somewhere. We need cheap posters up. We only have these paintings of, places or abstract art. We got to have something that's cheap, that's easy, that seems like we're trying to motivate the people. And so here's a picture that's really cheap to license. Somebody climbing a cliff and it says achieve, and that's it. That's the whole thing. And that's inoffensive, and it can mean anything you want. You go, oh, well, yes, that guy is able to climb that mountain, and I'm doing this office work that has nothing to do with climbing a mountain, but it says achieve, and I'm trying to achieve. And so even if it's just a little tiny bit of motivation that you get, that's enough. And then you share that, or it is shared in the common space that you're in. So that's what makes a meme continue to exist, is the sharing of the meme. But it doesn't mean that not sharing a meme will make it die. And I think people will sometimes think that if I stop sharing this meme, it will die. It will just, because it's like, well, but the way it survives is by sharing it. So if we stop sharing it, it dies. But the problem is everyone has to stop sharing it for it to die. And sometimes if you take a meme and you make it illegal, or you make it immoral, or you make it taboo, it actually becomes more interesting. So I'll give some examples of this, because not only can pictures and words be memes, but whole ideas and even people can be a meme in this sense. So quite some time ago, and he's still around, this guy, Milo Yiannopoulos, came to be known to me and others. He was invited to come speak at some college, and for whatever reason, a different group of people decided, we don't want him here to speak, even though some other group invited him to speak. So we're going to pressure the powers that be to disinvite him. So he's not allowed to come and speak here. And they were successful in this endeavor. And then the people that set up the talk that wanted him to come and speak got mad and yelled about it, and then it became news. So the people thought, we don't like this meme of Milo Yiannopoulos. We're going to kill this meme. We don't want, it's not enough to just not hear it, not participate in hearing whatever he has to say, but we don't even want this thing on our campus. It's like toxic waste. It's so terrible. But by doing that, now they've directed more attention to it, and now I know about him, whereas before I probably would have never heard about this guy if the story was he came and talked to a college campus. That's not a story. Nobody cares. It might have been a one-hit wonder. He might have propagated himself from college to college as more people became aware of him, because he made himself into a meme. But they helped the meme by trying to kill the meme. And you can even question and say, maybe he did that. Maybe he set that up. Who knows? Maybe, probably not. But it happened to him again, and then this, of course, happens to other people. Jordan Peterson, it's happened to Richard Dawkins. In fact, that's that's a meme that I'm very familiar with because I'm kind of connected in a very vague sense to it. That okay, so Dawkins was invited to go speak at some college, and he had recently tweeted out a thing that Seitan Atheist had made about Islam, and Richard found it funny and tweeted it out, and then some group in the college found out about it. So they said, no, we're going to pressure them to not have Dawkins here because we don't like that he said this bad thing about Islam, and saying bad things about Islam is bad because whatever reasons, and therefore whatever he's going to talk about is now tainted because he did this, and so we're going to kill that meme that's indirectly linked to him by killing his meme here. But then the whole thing became a story. So now everybody's interested in Dawkins and what was it? What was the meme about? And so now we look at that and brought more. And so and then of course I eventually got to be on Seitan Atheist as a meme of myself being Doubting Thomas, because if I was going to exist in the Bible, I'm Doubting Thomas, although Doubting Thomas isn't a very good skeptic. But at any rate, so I'm like it's like 3 degrees ish of separation there that I'm connected to that meme. But killing it only made it stronger because it didn't go away. Getting rid of Dawkins talking in that one case didn't make Dawkins go away. It just moved him to a different location where he could go and speak. And whatever it was he was going to speak about, which had nothing to do with that meme, nothing to do with the meme that he put on Twitter, that nobody needed to know about. In fact, nobody would have even probably known about that tweet had they not objected to the tweet or had they kept it there on Twitter. So they made the meme more powerful by propagating it into the larger sphere of the world by making it into news. So sometimes objecting to a meme makes it stronger. Not always, but many times it does. I dare say that almost all the time. Another one is Alex Jones. He's hilarious as a meme. He says things that are bonkers. Now, I watched an interview of this guy, and he's actually funny, I thought. Now, I disagree with like everything he said just about, but he was hilarious in his, and then he would go wild at times, and it's just like, nope, that's too far. You got to reel it back in a little bit. So they tried to kill this meme by kicking him off of platforms, but he's still around. He now has his own platform, and he's still as strong, if not stronger, as a meme force out there. So they didn't kill it; they just made it stronger. But it's now not on our platform, so we're not helping the meme to propagate, at least. So that's a win, I guess. But is it? Has banning books ever worked? No, because then you're more interested in the book. Has banning religion worked? No, because people will practice the religion in secret. So why do we think, or why do some groups think that banning a person or an idea or words or whatever will work? It won't work. It will still survive. And another example we could have, rather than just people, is the Nazi Party. There are people that call themselves Nazis. Well, we might refer to them as neo-Nazis because they're after Nazis are a thing. I mean, how can you be a Nazi without your leader? Your leader's gone. He's dead, So, but you believe in the Hitler Nazi propaganda ideology. So it didn't go away when they lost the war. Somehow it survived. But even weirder is that Germany kind of tries to teach anti-Nazism. This is something I heard from a friend that was German, so it's a one single source. So be skeptical of what I'm about to relay. But according to him, at any rate, that in school they were like taught, we did this terrible thing And we have to make sure that we never did it again. And I found that interesting because it was we. It wasn't in the past this happened. It was you and I did this terrible thing. Like, we're at fault for what happened in the past. Now, I don't know if that's true of all the schools or many of the schools. It's true of his one school. It's a single, person reporting a single memory, and he might be lying or wrong. Who knows? But if it's true, or it could be true, I find it interesting that didn't make the meme go away. It didn't make the idea of being a Nazi go away. It still exists somewhere. And then the other interesting thing with Germany is they made it against the law to deny the Holocaust. Yet Holocaust denial continues to be a thing that people do, just not in Germany. So they didn't get rid of it. They didn't expunge it. It still is a thing. So these memes can be seen as relatively neutral, like here's a cat, and that cat becomes a meme. Or they can be somewhat positive because, like, oh, that's a very cute thing, and it conveys some important information. But usually they're kind of benign. I have very few examples of meme. I guess you could say that memes can be positive when they're a good message or a real message or a true message or something like that. But then the negative memes exist as well, and they survive just as well as the positive or benign, the neutral memes or whatever. And they propagate and they change over time and they mutate. So, wow, that's a lot to think about, because everything that I'm saying can be seen as a meme. Everything about all that I've said so far could be taken as in and of itself a meme. You'll hopefully maybe share this video. We say that, it's a YouTube thing to say, is first subscribe. That's the first thing that's said, which is it's like, well, why? I'm already subscribed to you, but you're telling other people that aren't subscribed to do that. Well, don't they know that that's a thing? Why do you have to tell them it's a thing? Apparently, telling them to subscribe will make them subscribe. I mean, more often than not, apparently. Telling them to like or share the video or to comment on it will get them probably to do it. Although it doesn't always work, but it works enough that this meme has propagated. YouTube even had it, I think, as a rule for a while for videos that were promoted by YouTube, that you had to say certain things. I think they got rid of that. But at any rate, people think it works. Whether it actually works or not, it's irrelevant, because people think it works, so they do it. Advertisers also believe that their memes will work. They put out memes and they spend a lot of money doing so, and they think that they'll work, and they might. I remember certain memes of ads, and I wish I couldn't. There's one that goes, Nestle makes the very best chocolate, and it's like, oh God, that's in my, I want it, and I've just shared it. Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer wiener. These things are easily remembered, easily transmitted, and you're like, oh, hey, here's this thing that I heard. It was annoying, and I hate it, and now you get to hate it too. I respond to theists quite often, and I go, look at this, look at what they said, look at this, it's bad, here's why it's bad. So I'm propagating their meme to tell you why it's bad, but I'm still propagating their meme. But I have to. I don't have a choice. I could just say they're wrong and not even point at them, and I could do it that way, but it wouldn't. It's like, well, what are you talking about? Who are you talking? You're not responding to an argument. You're just saying that they're wrong. I mean, there's different ways to do it. But what we do, by and large, is convey memes back and forth. We're really good at it. So, having said all that, we finally get to religion. We finally get to the ultimate meme of God. And religion is the atmosphere that conveys the meme, but it doesn't have to be, not necessarily. God, the God thing can transmit even without it, but the God meme to exist usually needs to be propped up by people that continue to propagate it. Because God, this is how I'm viewing God, is as a meme and nothing else. It is an idea that we tell each other about, and then slowly changes over time to match the society it's in, mutates to stay alive longer, and so on and so forth. So we can see that this is true looking at the Bible as it is today. If you look at Genesis, you see this already begin to be a thing. So the first thing you're told, and this is a simple story, you're told this story about two people that got tricked, got tempted to disobey God. They disobeyed God, and that's why the world is shit. So disobeying God is going to make it more shit, so you can't disobey God. And the thing that they did that was in disobedience was questioning whether or not God was right. And so the meme, if we replace the word God with the word meme said, keep me alive or else things will go to shit. If you question me, that's what made everything bad. Then you get more memes about the meme. You get the idea that it's not just enough that you obey this meme, it's that believing in this meme is a requirement as well, because the world goes to shit when you stop believing in me. That's another part of the meme. And then more things get added to that meme as time goes on. Every time something bad happens, it's because people didn't listen to the meme. And so then eventually the meme sends a smaller meme to die because that's the only way to fix all the mess that we made. And then now that meme is here for a while, and then it came back, and now it's back part of the entire meme. But that's an easy story to convey as well. And it also makes you feel special. I'm part of this group, and all of us have the truth, and nobody else has the truth. We're right, they're wrong. We're saved, they're not. So it's tribalism. And the meme, even if you hate it, even if you dislike it, it can propagate. You go, oh man, I hate this idea. I got to tell somebody. Because I'm not going to not complain. And so the meme of God doesn't die. And in fact, when people have tried to kill God by outlawing it, it just goes underground, and then it comes back, and sometimes it comes back in a different format. Japan, for example, has what's called hidden Christians. Now they're dying out because they're old people, but these people were they were around when Christianity was introduced to Japan, and then was declared illegal by the emperor. But these people didn't stop believing in Jesus. They went underground with their beliefs. And when they went underground, at some point during that time, their belief in Jesus merged with their beliefs in Buddhism and Shintoism. And so you'll see, if you look into this, you'll see things, Jesus just morphs into this other thing. And they'll have like two things that they believe in now. And so the belief has evolved because it went underground. So they didn't kill it, they just changed it. So we few, about 1% of the world population, give or take, according to, I think it was a survey done by Pew a few years back now. But last time I saw a survey of religions, they calculated it at about 1% that are non-religious, non-believers. Maybe not even that. And everyone else in the world believes in this meme. It's a damn popular meme. It's a very powerful meme. We can't just yoink it out of existence. That's not going to happen. But what can we do when faced with a terrible meme? Well, killing it's not going to work. Telling it that it's wrong, maybe, but we have to design a more popular meme. We have to make a meme that is as interesting as this meme, but not but real. We have to get people to like some other meme, and that's really hard to do because science is only sometimes interesting to people. Like here's this beautiful nature documentary, and some people will love it, and others, whatever. Because our tastes are different, so everyone's going to find a different taste, if they will. So that's what we do, if you will, on YouTube, by being outspoken non-believers, whatever our label might be, whether it's atheist, agnostic, skeptic, anti-theist, whatever the bleep, the label may or may not matter as much as the message. In fact, maybe it doesn't matter at all, because the argument, I say, my meme is that the argument matters more than the person or group making it. And so we want that out there. What do we want? We want people to think critically, because that will maybe be a more attractive meme if we can make it more attractive to them. And they might not change, but the meme might over time. And we might not see it because it's not fast. It's going to happen slowly. But it's going to maybe happen a little bit faster because we've sped it along in that direction. Now, we can already see in history the God meme, the Judeo-Christian God, already evolved. In fact, you read the Bible, you can see God evolving in the Bible. But you can also see how Christians evolve through time. So at one point, they were persecuting other people and doing their crusades, now they don't. At one point, even you go before that and you go, here's the Jews with all these laws where they killed people, and then Christianity comes along and says, no, you don't have to do those anymore. Although maybe you kind of do, but you don't have to now. And so we're the same, but now we're different because here's a different law that you have to follow. And that's a better law to follow. So it refined itself over time. And the churches that survive are those that can adapt. Let's do, popular music. That's going to attract more people than just the same old. We'll leave that here too, but we got to evolve or we die. Now, I've been to stagnant churches. I've been to dying churches where everybody in the church is old. And I mean like 80, 90, whatever. And it's like, I'm the only young one there and maybe a couple other young people. But it's like, we're only singing without instruments and we're singing the classical hymns and that's it. And there's no musical instruments because that's bad. And just, the pastor just is basic, boring pastor. It's the same thing you've heard a million times. And it's tradition kept it alive, but it's dying. There aren't new people coming to that church because the church offers nothing that the new people want. I've also seen the other. I've seen a church that was doing phenomenally well, mega churches. This church was so big, I thought it was my college. I was going to a college, and I hadn't been there yet. And I hadn't been to the building of the college yet. And I saw it because I knew I was on the right road, and I saw this huge building. I'm like, well, that's got to be the college. And I pull in and I walk in, and it's like, this isn't what this is. And I was like, here, like, oh, this is what it, I'm in a church. Like, no, there's shops and there's, we have gym memberships, and then there's the worship areas, a stadium. It's just, I'm like, why? It's like, well, because we can, basically. There's money to be made from this meme. It's the ultimate meme. And so the megachurch offers a lot of things to people to keep them interested in coming to the church. So they add other memes to the already existing meme to keep them coming back. Not only can you come here to do the worship, but you also can come here and be part of our knitting club or our golf club or our, we have fitness instructors here. We have this and that, and we can charge for those things too. Isn't that great? And you can learn this and you can do that. And so now you're part of a big community and a little community at the same time. And oh my word, and it works. People go. The meme survives, but can we make it at least a more reasonable meme? And I think that we can, and I think that many have, and it's hard to know how many people you've impacted. Recently, a while back, a gentleman contacted me and said, how did you handle deconversion? What did you do? And it really hit me hard because I hadn't expected him to consider deconverting. But he'd been asking questions about the Bible and about the belief in God. And so I gave him my answers as best as I could. I had that conversation with him. And it came to mind because somebody on Twitter had recently said, what was deconverting like for you? And so I wrote a little blog about it. And for some people I know, they've never had that because they've never believed in the first place. So they don't have a deconversion story, but they have a different story to share. An interesting story as well. And those stories are memes. The religious have stories that they're memes. And we can maybe attract them to the more sensible memes, but we might not get rid of all the memes. So after I talked to him and I had him talk to, we spent that time together. I said, but we're going to follow up. You're going to speak to my brother who still believes in God about your worries and concern. And you might say, well, deconverted man, you screwed up. He was about to deconvert for all you know, and you threw him at a theist. How dare you? But that's fair. He's got to have both sides of the story, if you will. If there are two sides to a story, he's got to have both. He's got to listen to the skeptical thing, and he's got to listen to the apologetic explanation, because to do otherwise would be unfair. That's part of my system too, is yes, this is a way to view it. It's the way that I don't think is true, but I can't not give you this in my ethics and morality. And maybe in your ethics and morality, you would say, no, I'd hold that back and just give them my stuff. Fair enough. That's a whole different discussion. But I affected that guy to some extent for him to ask me about that in the first place. And maybe he still is doubting, but maybe he'll keep the belief of God, but maybe that belief will be tempered more into a reasonable belief than an unreasonable one. That maybe he will begin to see that it is just faith and live with that, but at least say, well, there isn't proof of God. I just have faith in God. That's a different position than there is a God and I can prove it, which is the apologetic stick. There isn't a way to prove God because God is just a meme. It's just an idea. The only proof you can offer of God is the idea of God, and then debate about that idea. You can't show God because it's only in here, but it's the ultimate in me. And we just have to come up with a better one. So all of us do that in our different ways at different levels. Some of us do it better than others. And one of those is bound to stick. Because memes are meant to propagate. Thanks for watching. And unless and until we have a better meme, we have to continue to be meme of the meme. Wait, no, that's not a very good meme to end on. Usually I end the meme with the other meme. Did I mention the lobster meme? Oh, man. What about talking to chat? Should I do that? Should I even talk to chat in this? No, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make another stream where I respond to chat if I need to. like if it's worth my time to respond to anything you said, then I will in a different stream, but not this stream. This stream is now ending. This is the part where I say Finn and then it ends, right? Are we doing that? Yeah. Okay, yeah, we're doing that. So, meme, hit the button, meme, Finn.